Hey there, beautiful person. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today we're talking about purpose. How do you feel on purpose and feel fulfilled? And does that have anything to do with enlightenment and awakening? So let's dive in. Hey, this is Rebecca Abraxas. We are remembering our greatness together, expanding consciousness, and having more ease during this great awakening time. So we're going to dive deep so we can raise our vibration high today. So let's go. So we're going to talk about 4 things that have to do with finding your purpose. And at the end, I'm going to give you your soul purpose. Our soul purpose, as every human being comes onto this planet, what our soul purpose is. So here we go. Let's dive in. So number 1, what gives us the sense of like, I've got to do this. I've got to meet my soulmate. I've got to, that feeling of it's deeper than longing. It's like, I've got to do this. What is that? It's number 1 here. It's a contract, oath, or vow that you have made in an altered reality, a past lifetime or different timeline that you've made. And you could be living this contract or vow out lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Now, when you live out that contract, you have this sense of like, life is fulfilled. I did it. I came here and did my mission. But it's not really a mission. It's just a contract and an oath and a vow that you have made. Now, these can look as simple as like, a marriage vow. When you hear a marriage vow, what does it talk about? It talks about to death do us part. Well, infant beings don't die. So you carry this oath and this vow with you through all eternity. So there's that. You may have a contract to come back in and, if you were a great musician, you expanded reality with music, you may have a contract with something, someone, somehow to keep living that out. You could have a contract with a certain being to channel and to be, give information to people at this point in time. So, channeling is wonderful. You get so much information. It could be a contract that you have with this being that you made a while ago, and now you're showing up and this is what's happening. So this number 1 thing, you have a sense of purpose when you are fulfilling a contract or a vow. Now, how do you know you have a contract or vow? You will start to feel that there's no choice, that you just have to do this, right? Like there is just coming in and this is your path, right? That's an oath, contract, or vow. But we always have free will. So these can always be broken. These can always be destroyed and uncreated if you want to have complete freedom in this lifetime. So it's just becoming aware that this is the case. And so I wrote this little guy here, this guy. So this guy here made an oath, and it keeps going into each lifetime as you keep living and keep embodying. That contract, oath, and vow never is complete until you have the awareness to destroy and uncreate it. Okay, so number 2 is a talent or gift. Now, this kind of has to do with number 1 too. Like you just have this propensity, this point of focus, right? With, say, singing or an instrument or being an artist, or you have just this propensity for numbers. You just have this gift. And when you do it, you feel really good. What is that? That gives you a sense of purpose, right? But what exactly is that? That could be something from number 1, an oath, vow, or a contract, right? It could be that a lot of people come in, those kids that come in learning they know how to play the piano at 12 months old. They're remembering their past life. So that could be another thing, is that they could be having a contract and a vow that they're fulfilling, or they just have this, they're really awake and they come in already remembering this, and they're like, this is fun. Okay, so following your talents or your gifts, or where you have this point of focus, Okay, where is that point of focus? So that's number 2. That will really give you that sense of purpose and mission. Number 3 is follow the lightness. Okay, your soul call. What you expand, what will expand you to wake up? This is your soul call. So if you are coming to planet Earth, embodying again, and you have a certain trajectory that you've been awakening, and you're on your awakening and ascension journey. Perhaps you didn't do it all in one life. Perhaps this is the 5th, 10th, I don't know, 100th lifetime that you are waking up and ascending, and you are at a certain spot, right? And your soul is longing for a certain experience. So it will give you light. You will feel lightness when you are on the trajectory your soul is asking for to expand. And so this is following the lightness. You will feel a sense of purpose when you follow your own lightness. And the lightness doesn't mean that it's good or bad, or that it's right or wrong, or that it's like on your way to your $1 billion manifestation. It means that your soul is evolving and waking up, and that your soul knows the path that's going to wake it up. So it will give you the lightness. And so when you go towards something heavy meaning like it feels like this, just like, oh, kind of collapsing, contraction, heaviness in your awareness, it doesn't mean that it's good or bad or right or wrong. It could be actually a really fun life. It could be really an abundant life. That could be the life that you become your billionaire, but it's not your soul's expansion journey. And so that's what light and heavy means. You will feel most fulfilled on your lightness journey. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so number 4 is when we get rid of all of this agenda, we have beingness and presence. Which brings me to what our soul purpose is. Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about this, is just presence. Gary Douglas of Access Consciousness talks about this a lot too. What if your beingness is the only purpose you have? Now that's hard. That's hard sometimes to do, to just know that who I be, just being on the planet, is my mission. Okay, just holding the light, being my high vibe self, being my low vibe self, being whatever, actually expands the universe. So our soul purpose is to expand the universe, is to just keep expanding consciousness and expanding consciousness and expanding consciousness. So when we embody and we just be, we're expanding consciousness. And when we come in and we play the roles that we're doing on planet Earth, and there's a good guy and a bad guy, and then we're acting all this stuff out, it creates contrast. And from there, a rocket of desire launches, and we open up a bunch of possibilities that we go seeking and reaching for. And that's how we expand consciousness on planet Earth. And this polarity starts to decrease in long polarity, like, good, bad, good and evil, the devil and God. The polarity is so thick when we're in like a 3D reality. 5D reality, we start decreasing polarity, but on planet Earth, to be here, to have 5th dimension in these bodies, we still have to have a sense of polarity. There's still something that's creating a tension, if you will, to keep these dense bodies up and walking, right? So there's always going to be polarity, but the length of the polarity or the intensity of the polarity, we can decrease. But that all has to do with expanding consciousness. And so really that is our soul purpose. And number 4, that beingness, it's a tough one, because we're like, well, Shouldn't I be doing something? Shouldn't I be of service? Shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Hear all that should, right? What is that saying? Don't stop shoulding on yourself. It is the beingness. Once we let go of all of the contracts and oaths, once we let go of, these gifts and talents, and once we let go of the light and heavy, what it really comes down to is allowing yourself to be. And then from there, oh, I think I'll do this today. Oh, I think I'll do this today. So today I'm just getting started. It's about noon, and I just was following the flow. I was just following beingness. I was just being. And it led me on a walk, and it led me to make French toast for my kids. They're teenagers. They don't need me to make them French toast in the middle of the morning, but I just felt like it. And then I was cleaning up the house, and now I'm doing this video. And, there's this flow of beingness that feels really good. And so being human and the third dimension really requires us to have more linear missions and purpose, right? But as we expand and raise our vibration and expand our consciousness, you'll know that the goal setting and the doingness and the linear purpose becomes less fulfilling and kind of burns us out. And you'll notice that just being and holding consciousness feels like a big enough mission, feels on purpose. And so by all means, if these contracts, oaths, and vows are strong with you and you still feel very committed to them, act them out. And if you feel kind of like jailed by them, then you get to destroy and uncreate them. You can do that. This life is not meant to be choiceless. This life is meant to be free and expansive. Okay, so when you feel done with these, number one, destroy and uncreate it. All right, number two, talents and gifts. These shift too. Sometimes our gifts start to, as a kid, we're really into music, and then it shifts to, oh, here's a good example. As a kid, my husband was just really gifted and talented with drawing and painting. He was drawing since he's been 4 years old. And then all of a sudden that turned into video making. And then that's turning into making documentaries. And so our talents and gifts can give us little breadcrumbs of what feels fulfilling to us. And eventually we let it all go. And we just go into the lightness and the beingness. That's when the wisdom years come in, right? And so I think of the giving tree, right? When the tree has so much purpose. The giving tree, he's giving his leaves and his apples, and he gives and he gives, and he feels a sense of purpose, but then he gets chopped down and he's just being a stump. And the little boy grows up, and eventually he's a man, and his beingness of just being a stump. The old man who was the little boy comes and sits down, and he said, "This is perfect." Then they just sat there, and they were just present together in their beingness. And what if that is enough purpose? So beautiful, people. Holding the light, being you, just getting up and breathing air. What if that is your purpose? I know, right? It's like, wow, can I really be worthy enough just by breathing air? Yes, you're worthy. You're worthy of a brilliant, beautiful, abundant life. Just because you breathe air. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for embodying. Thank you for breathing air. Thank you for just being. That's your purpose when it really comes down to it. And that beingness expands consciousness. That's it. So let's all go out there and take a breath and be on purpose. All right, beautiful people. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I'd really appreciate your subscription, your like, and perhaps ring the bell so you know when I post next. And welcome to the High Vibe Tribe. We are remembering our greatness together. All right, beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.